All right. Hello and welcome to the last week of season 26 OCC recap with me, Cornite, and with me, as always, is Galentio, who's a bit under the weather, so he may not talk very much. Say hello, Galentio.
Hello.
And also here is Danton. Say hello, Danton.
Hello, how's it going?
Who used to always be here but has been missing. Oh, actually, that's unfair. You've been to a lot of the evening ones, right?
Yeah, mostly evening ones. The morning one, well, this is my morning, so these ones can be a bit tricky with meetings and stuff.
Actually having to do work.
Yeah, unlike some people.
Yeah, indeed. Well, maybe that will change soon. We'll see. Anyway, hey Tom as well. How are you? And we're going to start with the bottom tier, so 2A, which is Ethelred's division, and work our way up. No games in the future, so only looking back at the past, so it should be pretty quick. I guess we're going to do a lot of looking at who's going to be promoting and stuff like that. So, and also who's going to win the predictions. I guess that is part of the reason you want to be here the most is
predictions competition. Yeah, I have a feeling though that I think Spider maybe is gonna pit me because I don't think I did as well as him. But I haven't actually looked at it. So
he was very excited about one result where he got it right,
yeah.
Possibly his own. I can't remember, and everyone else got it wrong. I think we all bet against him because we all didn't want him to win.
All we need to do is just forget to add the odd point, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So the usual.
So this is where it all comes to a head, and all your you've got to trust me to do my one job works out, isn't it? Suddenly it all becomes clear.
I don't need anyone else to look at the predictions. It's my job. It's fine. There's no conflict of interest.
All right, so let's start with the first game of match day 9, which was I wonder if there might be a few admin games in these weeks. So the first one
is 2A, right?
In 2A, yeah. So
the James Cook one was.
Yeah. So I can see in Spike it's not showing because Spike's not been updated for it.
I think James Cook has been banned for a year. From
Oh
OCC.
wow!
Literally banned.
Really?
Because he literally left the league and deleted the team, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
So did he have like a really bad game the week before? There.
What did he do then? Who did that? I know someone
maybe
left
it was
the league.
So because I'm not an admin, I can't tell that he's left, right? That he could have deleted his team and the team will still show up on my screen.
Removed the team from 2A.
But if you're an admin and you're looking at it, you won't have the kick button.
His TV is like 1150, right? So something went wrong.
Yeah, he basically
his TV's always been like that. The entire season he's had 2 catchers and 2 blitzers and that lineman, and not much more. So it's not like his TV's got much low. I think he had a thrower as well, right? And he may have had another catcher that died and he's been replaced.
Yeah, but when you're playing Pro Elves, your team is always like that at ITV. So maybe he wasn't up for it.
I don't agree. Like Pro Elves are kind of cheap, so you can kind of protect them with the inducements you get. So you should be able to build your team if you're not doing lots of risky things and leaving your players at base contact all the time. Hey, Weblin, talking of Pro Elf coaches, he wrote a message in OCC saying he was leaving because a family member passed away and he needed to take care of things. Okay. Harsh.
Still.
Well, I mean, I guess you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
It's...
But anyway, talking about Pro Elves,
he can only rejoin next year.
Yeah. Talking about Pro Elves, though, the first game is actually Weblin's Pro Elf game against Ratamo, which was 2-1. I think I saw a bit of this. I didn't. No, because this was played at the same time as I played Ethelred's game. So I didn't see any of this. Weblin was in my chat and said some things, but I don't remember specifically. I vaguely remember Ratamo complaining about being diced, but he does that every week, so it's kind of like can't be diced every week.
I think he complained of being outdiced by outpashed by elves.
Yeah. I mean, and that
Considering the teams, it's not that unlikely.
yeah, I mean, plus strength, mighty blow, catcher who can get pretty much anywhere and takes down anyone versus no mighty blow. Oh, there's the bear who's not the most reliable of mighty blowers. But yeah, to be fair, he did lose. Is that his only blitzer? His only blitzer died for Ratamo, but he's restarting the team, right? So none of this really makes any difference. It doesn't matter if half your team dies.
I mean, to be honest, this is not a team that you could really be kind of hoping to get good results with in tier 2.
No, and like Kislev having a wizard. Well, he's got one wrestle tackle strip and a wizard.
Just,
That's not bad.
Really, it's not really enough.
No, it's not. No, okay, fine. So who I imagine everyone bet on Weblin.
Yeah, so not everyone, and as we'll find out in a minute, one important person did not bet on Weblin.
Are you describing yourself as important, or?
Obviously, I'm one of the only 2 important people. So people who did bet on Weblin, Berto.
Cool. Who's now an 8.
Yeah, he's catching up. Myself.
Last week, this is the. Okay, so you're not describing yourself as the important person. 56.
56.
Equaling Spider at the top.
Palladius.
Who really has had, like, he joined halfway through the season. He would definitely be beating you and Spider if he was actually Well,
let's not get too crazy. And Galentio, Guido, and yourself, Cornite.
Nice. To be fair, you say it's a 2-horse race, but that does put Galentio only 3 points behind the 2 of you.
This is true. No, for sure, Galentio is definitely in contention.
And more importantly, I'm 3 points ahead of Ethelred, which
Yeah, I mean, which is the only real competition.
Which is the one that actually involves one of us getting
that's
a drink.
the only reason for all this.
Although you never know. I'm sure we'll be like, the trouble is, if we actually meet up, we'll buy each other drinks anyway, right? It's not going to make that much difference. But yeah, anyway, whereas me and Ethelred, it kind of maybe stands for more. Anyway, that it? Yeah. Any notable levels for the pros? Because I assume they're carrying on, right? And I think that win secured their...
I think they win the division, don't they? But we'll look at that in a minute.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's have a look at the next game then, which is Sylphwyn's Red Riding Wood against Duckwing's Wolverine Fielders. I remember reading some comments from Sylphwyn, possibly in Twitch chat about this, about how he had a chance to do something, but did he get out? He got removed, possibly unsurprisingly. I can't remember. But yeah, 1-1, so not bad. A draw. I think that also secures him.
Okay. There's comments on Discord.
Oh, it's on Discord.
Okay. Can't say I did all I could to stop him as he won our direct confrontation. Okay. That's... And he says he jinxed himself because he bet Weblin would win the division.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
He induced an extra apple and we are not a wizard, basically, to get the team not to die, basically. So basically he went for instead of going for the win, he went for more of a
you went for a team preservation.
Yeah, and it works. No one dies.
He used both apples, and wizard will probably get him the win.
Yeah, but oh wait, did he actually? Yeah, and he did qualify, so that's fine.
And he rolled really badly on the last turn. That would make him score, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, plus with so many teams dropping out next season from champs, I mean, a lot of teams are going to get sucked up a division.
Yep.
I mean, like there are more divisions each tier down, right? So the extra re-rollers above will get split out, right? So even if the whole of champs re-rolls,
down to tier 2, I think a lot. I mean, more teams are going to be going up. Obviously, the normal probably.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of teams from tier 3 are gonna go up 2 tiers even if like if they won their respective tier 3, it's not unlikely they go straight to tier 1.
Yeah.
But let's see.
All right. So who bet on draw?
Anyway, yeah, tragic news here. That only 2 people bet on the draw, and one of them was Spider, unfortunately, and the other one was Berto himself.
A bit of match fixing going on there, I think. Maybe Spider saw Berto bet. And...
I think Berto may have made a quiet arrangement on the side, yeah.
You forgo winning a league tier to to give Spider a win on the
Oh, yeah, that would have given him the win if he'd have actually won that game, yeah. Okay, next game. Kia, Coron Croissant against Sea Perverts, Hit Me Baby One More Time. 2-0 to the Berts. I don't think I expected that.
No, but I mean, the betting was very heavily favoring the Brets, I think, because this is an undead team that was really quite, quite beaten up by this stage.
Oh, he took hack as well. Taking a chainsaw is a terrible idea in almost every matchup.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
He basically from the stats he was just banged all game and didn't care much for the ball, I guess.
I mean, no, sorry, I got mixed up.
Or maybe the Brats just stole it under their noses and they couldn't do anything because Agi4 and Leap.
Yeah. Although the undead did make a pass, which is unusual for undead.
Did he take Leap on an Agi4 blitzer?
Did he take Leap on an Agi4 blitzer?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Would you take Leap on an Agi4 blitzer?
Yes, I would.
Really?
On Brats, it can be a special like, but I would give him
but it's
like street ball and tackle and stuff.
mean, but my kind of reservation here would be if you're lucky enough to roll plus edge on a Brett blitzer, I mean, that is your golden child, right? And giving him Leap basically means, you you are going to be putting your golden child in harm's way a lot more than you probably should be.
I mean, you like, but it depends on, like, he's got another Agi up, right? Yep. So it's not actually.
Okay, right. I didn't see he has 2 Agi up, so maybe if you have 2, you could do it with 1. But I mean, I would be just going full ball carrier route rather than ball sacker.
It seemed like he was going full ball carrier with dodge and sure feet, but then he went.
I mean, dodge. All Brett blitzers take dodge as like their first or second. Like first normal skill on a blitzer is always going to be dodge, right? There is no other choice.
You only pick tackle if you have.
I mean, there's arguments for having one with tackle if you're in a dodge heavy division, maybe even one with leader if you're
because rerolls are expensive. Yeah.
I'm in the same camp as you. They all get dodge, and then you see if anyone rolls anyone special, anything special, and then you start to specialize.
But remember, this is an old team, right? So he could have had a ball carrier already, right? He could have had someone who had sure hands and all the main ball carrying skills.
Yeah,
and which makes this a catcher, and he already has catch, and he has Agi4 now. So Leap's actually, a pretty good, catching skill, right? It's good for getting you about.
No, for sure. Leap obviously has its advantages, but
I mean,
it's a 3+.
Yeah, you're suggesting that 3+ is bad, but I would take Leap on a Beastman in Chaos on a double sometimes, and that's a 4+ until you get very long legs. Now, obviously, you're going to get to making it 3+. But the threat of the sack is so high that
I totally understand that. But the Beastman is a lot more expendable, right? You have a lot more of them.
Yeah.
Also horns obviously is a lot more useful when it comes to leaping in and hitting something.
It is interesting that it's on like the other skills that have gone on this Agi player. Like, would you make your Agi player the leader? I don't think I would. Like that seems like a skill you give to another blitzer who's not rolled.
Yeah, and you have
definitely not if you're making it your leap sacker, then
Yeah.
then no.
To me, that's the weirdness here is taking leader and then
Then give
taking
him
lead.
guard on the double.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, he's got 2 mighty blow as well, so like he does need more guard. But yeah,
Anyway, I think we probably spent too much time discussing
it
this.
might actually be that it's just when he needed to. So he needed a leader, and that player leveled, so he took it. But
Obviously, it all
I'm not a fan
depends
of that.
on
Obviously, yeah.
all depends on what the team looked like at different moments when these choices came up.
Yeah.
But anyway, no one actually bet on the undead winning. Most people went for the Bretts, with a few people going for a draw. So
some notable people, including me. But go on.
some notable people went for a draw.
Yeah.
People who went for a win were Ethel.
Boo! God damn it!
Fighting back.
Yeah.
Myself.
Ooh.
Oh, Broccoli. I missed him out.
Yep.
Palladius, Galentio, Keeping Up, and Retamo.
Ooh. Putting you back on equal footing with Spider.
Back on equal footing. And Galentio, is quietly in the slipstream.
Yeah. To be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't sell yourself short quite yet. Still only 3 points behind. It feels like either Danton or Spider is missing out on a point every time, so eventually you're going to catch up, right? But anyway, so the next game is my game, let's say.
Yeah, now I totally forgot that you were filling in for Ethel. So
yeah.
I think my bet should be changed. Because, I obviously, bet for whoever was playing against Ethel, because I mean that's the logical thing to do.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly find out. I suddenly find out it's not actually Ethel piloting the team.
I mean, it's only been 3 weeks, right? I'm sure we've hardly talked about it at all on Discord, or anything.
But I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot that it was you filling in for him.
Yeah.
And you basically made him promote with the last 3 games.
I mean, okay, so I've made this. I now feel the need to kind of slightly defend Ethel. Like, he did win 3 of his games himself, right? So he's half responsible for his promotion.
I still win.
Hey,
did you manage to? Did you manage to kill off any of his players, or actually level
I protected everything, and I've leveled 3. No, I've leveled 2 this week, 2 last week. I'm putting SPP on the right elves, 100% of the time. Actually, no, that's not true. I was trying to get Ratamo leveled for the last 2 weeks, and he's been on 3 SPP in the first game I had, and then he was on 4 for the last game. He got KO'd really early. So that was
well, I can see you scored on the marquee, which is typical sort of Ethelred play.
I mean, like, I was forced to. I think that was the first touchdown. That was just like a score to make sure this is a win first and foremost, and then I spent the rest of the game ensuring the right elf scores.
I jest because obviously it's a pretty easy mode way to score, and sometimes it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I think Leffe did put me in trouble. He complained a bit about not getting removals when he's got like 4 mighty blow and a piling on, which is a fair comment, I think. But I mean, you can't rely on removals too much. That's a problem.
Humans typically have an edge in the matchup because of that. But it's obviously not something they can just rely on.
I mean, the trouble is humans kind of have an edge because they're a cheaper team, and we were equal TV and both with wizards, and I think I used my wizard much more effectively than he used his.
Does Ethel have a wizard stadium?
Yeah, he does now. Yep, as of possibly the week before I took the team over for the last 3 weeks. Ethel bought a wizard stadium after I'd been suggesting he should for a long time. And actually, I completely forgot about it. I the last game and this game, both of them, I was like, oh, I got a wizard. Oh, excellent. Hurrah. This is going to make this game a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, especially having a player like the Marquis, the wizard is a big deal for sure.
Yeah.
He complains a lot about not getting removals, but he did less blocks than you.
Yeah. He like Obviously,
this is the tricky thing for humans in this matchup. If they overbase, then they can get punished as well, right? Because the elves can just 2+ dodge to get assists to where they need them.
yeah. So he didn't overbase at all. He definitely didn't do that. And yeah, that whatever happens, the elves kind of control how many blocks the humans get to a certain degree, right? And I feel like he made some choices where it resulted in where he was making blocks and giving me, like, he was taking a block on a good player but giving me 3 blocks in return a couple of times, and I don't necessarily think that was entirely worth it.
He was being too aggressive.
He was actually
he was jamming guards in to kind of get hits on key pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's not terrible to do that a bit, and especially if it pays off and you get a removal on something good, it's great. But he did leave his best player surfable, like his killer. As you can see, actually, I've had 3 surfs in this game, and that was with 2 of the surfs that I tried failing to work. So I must have had 5 opportunities to surf.
Because Ethel still has that lovely strength 4 witch, right?
Yeah, so the strength, I basically, every time Leffe put a player within 2 squares of the sideline, who didn't have sidestep, I had an opportunity to surf them.
Or even if he's marking one of your players within 3 squares as well.
Yeah, that happened once as well. Yeah, but mostly, and I think I KO'd both his sidestep catchers before the second half. So in the second half, it was fairly easy to get them when I wanted.
You had free reign on the sideline.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I mean that is part of the reason I do love Frenzy, is, you know, the threat of that is, you know, actually I don't think Leffe reacted well enough to the fact that I had Frenzy, but you know.
So I see Ethel did take Fend on the witch, which was, I think, my recommendation.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I do love a witch with sidestep and fend.
Okay, so there were 2 dark elves with fend, and there were definitely some humans with fend. There were 2 humans with fend, and fend helped nothing whatsoever in the whole game. That's 40 TV of skills on both sides. That was
So what you're not taking into account is that I'm sure there were times where he could have considered blitzing the witch with like a pommer that he just thought, nah, it's better I blitz something else, just because knowing he can't pom it.
I mean, like, Fens doesn't actually stop you from blitzing things with pom. When you've got stand
doesn't stop
firm.
you. It's just that, like, when you have to choose between that target, that you, especially being strength 4, that you have to invest more assists into and everything, or blitzing something else, knowing that you can pom, then, you know, it's definitely a factor.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, now I think about it, there may have been one time I used Fend on the marquee.
Yeah, that's why Juggernaut is so essential at high TV sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I do love Juggernaut as a kill skill, which may go part of the way to explain why I dislike Fend as a wasted skill. But anyway, all of that aside, I won.
So betting.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't bet on you/Ethelred, good news is that Spider did not either, so we're all good. And Galentio sneakily catching up in this one.
Ooh.
So Braculi.
Yep.
Both Ethelred and you bet on yourselves.
Yeah, of course. As we would.
Yeah.
In the one case where both of us bet on Ethelred to win.
Yeah. Palladius, and as I mentioned, Galentio.
Yeah, I've done it already.
You already done
I
it.
had a feeling that will play better this
time. Yeah, Galentio actually seriously having
2 points behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, and that was the last game, I think. Yeah, it was, because the James League game obviously didn't happen.
Didn't get played.
Didn't happen.
And
so who wins? Who gets promoted?
So I thought my win promoted Ethelred, but actually, if Palladius gets an admin win, that might... is it going to be admin as 2-0 or 2-1? That would actually make a difference. But either way, like, top 3 definitely going up, and Weblin
top 4 should go
100%.
Should be 2-1.
Yeah. Ethelred in third at the moment, but I think Palladius will actually overtake him with the admin win.
It's very rare they give a 2-0 win just because of touchdown difference, you know.
Okay.
I think 2-1 is likely. But anyway, fourth place. I mean, should still promote.
Yeah, exactly. And as you mentioned, there is the theoretical possibility that fifth might even get dragged up, I think.
Oh, Weblin just coming in with the comment that he's sitting out next season.
What?
Even though he wins the division.
So yeah, that
will definitely mean Ethel gets promoted then.
Yeah, and Kia as well, right?
Probably.
And possibly Duckwing as well.
Maybe,
I don't envy the admins that have to do the divisions for next season. It's a mess right now.
It's fairly easy. You just shift everyone up, right? They have rules in place. They'll have a system. I'm pretty sure PidPad has a pretty mathematical system behind his divisioning.
Yeah, I think he has a spreadsheet where he just puts people in.
And you know, I mean, no sympathy. The only question is divisions when.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, divisions when.
It's a spreadsheet. Just do it. You know, how hard can it be?
Just do it, PidPad.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Why aren't the divisions out already, PidPad? For God's sake.
Jesus.
Was it? Who was it? Someone has already actually posted divisions when. Who was it? It was Gobbo. Yeah.
It was Gobbo. So he's just come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that meme is so big that even in admin channels we bother PidPad. Divisions when PidPad.
Is PidPad actually doing it? Didn't he get someone else to possibly cover when it, occasionally as well?
I think it's gonna doubt it, but it's gonna be PidPad or Gobas or something like that, or Borg.
I was gonna say, is Gobas saying that because he's actually doing it? Because I'm pretty sure someone was being talked to about doing it when PidPad can't type thing.
It's gonna be one of the green suits, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the green suits, but I don't know who.
So is Gobas saying that because he's the one who's doing it and he thinks it's funny to say that when he's doing it, if that makes sense? You know,
probably. Wouldn't put it past him. Okay, next.
Okay.
Next, 1A.
We better get on to 1A or 1B?
Let's do 1A first, shall we? Or does it make a difference?
Sure.
Okay, and the first game of the week for 1A is Franco, who was here when we started, may still be hanging on, against Luke 444. This did get played. All right, fine. I think Luke said he's sitting out next season anyway, but whatever.
It's temporary
replacement team. So this was Trunkhead actually started the season.
Yeah, but
I think,
is Luke actually in the league somewhere? Isn't he in the league?
Yeah, I think he has a different team somewhere. He used to have Orcs, didn't he, somewhere? But I'm not sure if he
re-rolled the Orcs. I think he's someone, or maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, but so maybe he has a team in the lower divisions as well.
This is the game where Tom decided not to continue with the team and leave.
I thought that was
OCC for a bit.
I thought that was the week before where his team got wrecked again. Oh no, this is the one. This is the one. Sorry, he got strength bust on a mummy. This is what I was thinking about. Yeah, so he's lost another Tomb Guardian again and lost another Blitzra. And I to quote Tom, screw this. I've had enough of trying to level Blitzra. This is shit. The words to that effect. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. And
should have never dumped the underworld.
Yeah. Khemri are garbage. Just don't bother.
Like Blitzras are surprisingly hard to level. Also,
I mean, like people genuinely suggest
until they get Mighty Blow, right?
People genuinely suggest starting with three rerolls and no throw rars. And just carrying on the Blitz Rars to start with, just to get them the first couple of touchdowns to get what's it?
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea, but might lose you a lot of games at the start. To be
honest. It's bad enough when you roll when you fail a 4+ to pick up the ball and you've got sure hands. Imagine that wasting a reroll as well. And hey Tom's still lurking. 4 dead skilled Blitzrars in 2 seasons, which is and like I remember one of them having some stats. I think maybe I might be thinking on Gloom's old Khemri, but anyway, And yeah, 4 dead skilled Blitzrars and more than 4 dead Tomb Guardians.
Yeah,
Maybe you're bad at playing Camry if they're dying this much. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it's about that.
Breaking
Even
news: Core Knight says that Tom is bad at Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
even I considered leaving my team this season. So it's not
I was
only him.
praying to get a niggle or an
mean-
AV bus just once, but always straight deaths. Yeah.
I mean, Tom, I think we all know that playing Camry in this sort of an environment with a lot of kind of nasty kill teams around is just asking for pain.
Literally just got hit once. I mean, like, yeah, I'm not entirely certain that what environment Camry are great for. So there is that too.
Well,
Camry are
an
good if
environment
it's
with
like
no
division.
claw.
Yeah, maybe.
Like if it's like a division where you are like not immortal and it's just that league and playoffs, they're kind of good.
I just love in places like Reddit and the Steam forums and stuff where people complain about how strength 4 big guys is just OP and Camry are too
5.
powerful. So strength 5,
Oh,
sorry, yeah. And I'm like,
They're powerful at the start, but then they start getting.
No, I think they're
wrecked.
powerful against bad coaches, but against good coaches, they're terrible.
Powerful if they're well positioned and if the opponent
Yeah.
is not removing them.
Like Camry is all about positioning, basically.
Yeah. Well, let me put it another way. If you need to be better skilled than your opponent to really take use of it, I think. And obviously,
And
that's
they're
easier.
also very vulnerable to fouls as well, right? I mean, if a Tomb Guardian gets isolated and they can step on it, then that's a pretty good way to get rid of them as well.
Mm-hmm. If they get gassed, they get really gassed.
I mean, personally, for me, I find the skeletons to be the biggest problem with the team. Like you're a bash positional team, and half your team is so easy to remove. Like just gets the occasional punch with mighty blow. Like Thick Skull's okay, but it doesn't make up for AV7 with no protection.
Well, Tom is saying that his skellies were the MVPs. They just kept leveling.
I mean, literally, they kept stealing the MVPs from the players you want to get.
Literally, they kept stealing MVPs and not dying.
that is literally the worst for Camry. But anyway, I hate playing Camry against good opponents and love playing them against bad opponents. That's what I would say. But who bet on a draw?
So you can probably guess from my dramatic pause that only 2 people bet on the draw. One of them was important, and the other one not so important.
I don't like this defining some people as important and other people as not. Just saying.
Berto, I'm sure, Berto, you are important, but you came late to the betting competition, so I'm going to label you as unimportant.
Only for the purposes of betting. Okay.
That's a big woof.
And the other person was me.
Putting you in the lead, Mr. Oh, I don't think I did that well this week. So.
Well, I thought I hadn't done. I'm sure I got a lot of other ones wrong that Spider got right. So let me enjoy my moment.
Yeah. So both these teams are dead. Tom's going right, or is that was that a 3? Tom? Are you re-rolling or are you just? I guess like even if you go away for a season, you could come back and you might as well get another team, right? 'Cause there's not like one strength move up throw raw does not a Camry team make, right?
Weblin saying he wants to be important. So,
yes,
Weblin, join in. Hang on? Is it worth mentioning that next season, we are taking the betting thing to another level?
Oh, we are keeping the betting though, right? It's not that we're replacing the betting, but we're running our first season of Fantasy Blood Bowl. Next season.
So we can do both, right?
Yeah.
But I think we still have some open slots on the fantasy.
Yes. There's I think we can fit in 2 more people for the first season. So it's going to involve at some point before the season starts, maybe on the day when the season actually starts. We're going to get together on a call and 8 of us or so, and and we're going to buy players from the championship.
Yeah, we're gonna do like an auction.
Yeah, we're going to do an
We're
auction.
basically gonna nerd to another level now.
Yeah. So I mean, there are some rules in terms of obviously each person has like a treasury, and there'll be an auction system.
Yeah.
And some rules around kind of
Yeah, so you
how
Be
many
prepared for
players
Cornet and
you can
Adel
take.
to fight each other over players.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but
you can bid for up to 16
it,
players, but only 11 of their points count. And
yeah,
only players in the championship for this first inaugural season. But we'll probably
and
make it more coaches next season, and we'll probably
exactly.
include tier
So
one
yeah,
at least.
just to say, the first season that we're doing it is kind of a bit of a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not having too many coaches in.
Mhm.
But hopefully, if it works out well, then we'd look to expand it in the future.
Yeah.
And the points that we're using is what I think you're showing on the screen now is
Yeah,
the
indeed.
impact points that Spike basically comes up with.
So from Franco's game, whichever player had Harry Potter on their team would get 13 points, and so on down. And so like fantasy football or fantasy American football, where you pick real players and stuff. We're gonna try, and I'm currently trying to automate it with a bot, and that will make and once it's automated, it'll be quite good. I believe. I believe. The bot that I'm helping create is with Nolisius, who's also streaming, and he's going to do a similar thing in CCL as well. It's about the same time.
It's for Chalice, isn't it?
Yeah, for Chalice. So for Chalice, it will be anyone. It will be more like the open newspaper format where every player will have a cost, and you buy your players, and then you get your points, and multiple people could have the same players, right?
Yeah.
So he's running it that way, and we're running we have to bid against each other, and the highest bidder gets it system, which obviously will have different results. Personally, I find this system more enjoyable, but yeah, the bot behind it hopefully will manage both systems.
I mean, our system I think is definitely slightly more in depth, as it were, but it does kind of rely on a bit more of kind of work at the front end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the moment, Spider's kind of leading the charge, but he's doing lots of things that my intention is to automate. So, but yeah. So actually, this whole impact players thing comes from a Rebel fantasy football. So, Schleiss, who's the person who made the first bot before Spike, he made it for Rebel. And he was really interested in the idea of having a fantasy football league. He had they had a league. They had a season or two of fantasy football, and these impact scores come from him doing that. And Spike just copied basically what the Rebel bot was doing, which included pulling over the impact points. So it's not original by any stretch of the imagination. It won't even be the first, but it'll be fun. We'll see how we go. But anyway. Back on track, yeah.
Back on track.
The second game,
Ant-Man versus Carmack.
Yes, and Carmack definitely said something about this, didn't he? I can't remember where or when. Maybe not in PMs, so it was in public somewhere. I think
A 1-1 draw. Who could have seen that coming?
A 1-1 draw between Chorfs and Chaos, and the blocking looks kind of low, if you ask me.
I mean, not just any Chorfs, right? We're talking about Ant-Man, who is like the king of the draw.
Yeah, fair. But I still would have expected a bit more bashiness. If I was playing the Chorfs, I would have definitely been going a bit harder into this not very killy Chaos team, right? With Chorfs, right? Like the most dangerous bits of the Chaos team, I think, are the two blodging warriors. And obviously, Chorfs should be able to deal with them quite well. Carmack losing.
Yeah, I mean, Carmack's team is not really a really bashy Chaos team. He's been kind of rebuilding it as well. But yeah, he lost one of his better goats.
Yeah, he has a lot of Nurgle warriors.
Yeah.
The damage is bad, and he's lost one of his only wrestle tackle goat who actually MVP'd and leveled, which kind of sucks. So might be problematic if he faces many Elfie teams in the.
He still has three. He still has three more tackle. I mean,
Yeah.
he still has. Quite
Next champs is not gonna be a lot healthy.
Yeah,
So.
I think this team is gonna struggle a bit maybe. And well, obviously we'll get to that at some point. But
I mean, we say that, but like Carmack's, we were saying that about Carmack this season a bit, I think, in our predictions, right? So he's done really well, and I think he's a really good coach, and I think he really
does make
working
up
hard at
for
it.
he does make up for the deficiencies in the team. I think with he's got good positioning sense.
But anyway, who bet on a draw? Were there lots of bets on draws? Oh,
yeah, seven
Jesus.
people went for the draw.
Even Carmack voted for his own draw.
Yeah, even Carmack went for the draw.
You would say everyone important voted for a draw, I think.
Exactly, everyone important voted for a draw. As did Braculi.
Yeah.
Carmack, as we mentioned, you did, so you get a boost against Ethelred.
Yeah, because Ethelred didn't. Hurrah.
Yeah, and Guido. Actually, Guido quietly is not that far behind either.
No. And you, Spider, and and Galentio. Okay, so none of you drop.
None of us drop points.
Keeping the Ant-Man draws a lot meme alive.
Is Ant-Man playing next season as well? Well, we'll come to that, I guess, at the end.
So.
I think so, yeah.
He's going to champs.
He's going to
if
champs.
He wants to.
Yeah. And the next game is Starburg's Deathbringers against Undeadliest Cuz. I vaguely remember Swedo possibly getting banged out in this game. Am I wrong? 29 armor breaks, 63 blocks by Stolberg. I mean, 5 casualties and 1 death is actually kind of not that many when you cause 29 armor breaks. That's ridiculous.
I mean, he is, the ultimate banger coach. So,
yeah,
I'm not surprised. It's in the way that he plays, and I mean, I think his team is just, in this matchup, it's just too much for the undead to handle.
Yeah. Were Undeadliest Cuz missing anything? They weren't, were they? Now they're another ghoul down now though. There's one more dead ghoul. But yeah, poor Sweeto. And congratulations to Deathbringers. I think that gets them into the champs, right?
Yeah, that definitely makes champs a lot more killy next season.
Yeah. Trying to work. Yeah. So one of the Kaz was caused by the dirty player, but not by fouling. Anyway. Who bet on Stolberg?
Most people, I think, saw this one coming. So the 3 important amigos, obviously, they all got it right. As did Palladius and Carmack. Actually, and Guido as well.
Yeah, this was the usual Stalberg tactic. If the other team doesn't have a team, I can score easily.
Yeah, but that's a tactic that doesn't usually work that well, in my opinion. And Tom is arguing with your Ant-Man always gets draws by saying, well, the Khemri do exist and Khemri are the king of the draws.
Yes, Khemri are the kings of draw or the 1-0 grind.
In this case, not so much. In this case, king of the draws and losses. Not a good combination to be king of, I'm afraid. Although equal in losses to quite a few other teams. Lots of teams get equal losses.
So it's worth noting that it could come across as being a bit mean to Ant-Man, not to Tom, because obviously we like being mean to Tom, but
Yeah.
to Ant-Man
Yes.
because he actually won OCC with this Chork team a few seasons ago. So obviously he's not just a draw meme monster.
No, it was the season after where he got 8 draws out of 9 games that
it
caused the meme.
Yeah, he's kind of evolved into a draw specialist since then. Yeah.
Where are we? Yeah, so the next game was Guido's game against Hawkster. Tell us all about it, Guido.
Galentio.
Galentio.
Not,
Sorry,
yeah.
G's. Getting my G's mixed up. My OGs.
Yeah. Well, what can I say about this game? I got the weather effect of snakes in the field, so I couldn't do much.
That's a new one. So there's like snakes in the grass weather.
Yeah, there's
event
snakes
now,
in the
isn't it?
grass.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Nice.
it was basically it. Like I could like I snaked. He didn't snaked. He won. Okay.
There were a lot of snakes, I got to admit.
There were a lot of snakes.
But yeah.
Like I was laughing at some point. I was like, I know I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna snake, and then I snaked, and I'm like, of course. And then like, yeah, have a game. Don't kill my team. GG, well played.
I mean, the timing of the snakes is always, the important part of it. But obviously, if it's your first action or right at the start of the turn, then
Yeah,
it's always
like
it's always like a snowball effect.
Yeah. Like I had one turn where I mispositioned my sure feet catcher a bit, and I was like, I'll risk it and do a GFI since he has sure feet snake. And then he had the entire open wing for it.
It was your fault then.
It was my fault, but
it was an early, really, really minor error in positioning that led to the first snake, but then caused every turn after that to be harder and harder, right? So both things
and
true,
I have a
right?
snake every turn.
Yeah, but and also it was like what 1,500 humans against 2,000 TV lizards.
Yes.
So generally the matchup's kind of bad.
Yeah, I almost stole the ball because grief gets everywhere,
Yeah.
But
funnily enough,
then
although actually this has been a matchup. So in OCC with my humans, like I think I have a really good record against lizards. Like I mean, I played Spider like 3 times. I played Hawkster a long time ago, coming up through the divisions,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I've definitely won more than I've lost against lizards, just because they are so susceptible to fouls on the Sauruses that can just really turn a match. But obviously, I mean, they have a lot of advantages in the matchup. But it's surprising how you can kind of skew it as well, if you get some key removals.
I didn't use the wizard correctly. Also, I was too eager to use the wizard and didn't do it well.
Yeah, I also there was a turn early where where the ball was deep. Did they get a blitz or something? And you made a pass.
No, that's the Spider game.
Was that the Spider?
That was Spider.
Oh, okay, fine, sorry. No, it was when you had overwalled because you were like I would have you blitzed. Your intention was to pass the ball forward, and I would have I would have done a 3-die with overwalled on the Agi 4 skink rather than your choice.
Basically, in the second touchdown, I risked it all because it was a 3+ pass. To just pass it to a catcher and then just run off with the ball and will probably be a tie. And of course, I 1-9 that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of key moments where the dice just completely failed. And when he scored his first touchdown, it was like turn 8 desperation move, and the Agi 4 skink just rolled like 4 2+ and scored basically.
That's what Agi up skinks tend to do.
Yeah.
So, but who bet on Hawkster then?
So only 2 of the 3 amigos bet on Hawkster.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, Galentio was too confident and did not bet on himself losing. So Braculi, myself, Philadius, Guido, and Spider.
And also, Grief got the MVP, so like it's like the game never happened for my team.
Nice.
No SPP, no nothing. Only
Griff,
MNG player.
the only time I used Griff this season was the match I played against RTSD's Nurgle, and he definitely deserved the MVP in that match,
Yeah,
even though he didn't
Griff
even though he didn't get it.
is even more OP on Blood Bowl 2020, but still
Yeah.
like one of the best star players in all the game.
Yeah, did you say this was your first game playing with Griff in 2020 in Blood Bowl 2, Galentio?
I played with him before,
Oh,
but
okay.
not at this TV level,
Oh, okay.
which I think makes him even better at the ITV than Morg, basically.
Hmm.
Because he just can re-roll everything. You
Because
don't need to worry about the loner
it's
most of the
clearly
times.
clearly because he has fan,
Yes, the fan. The fan
which is
was
it's
kind of good.
Core Knight's favorite skill, which is obviously like why I like to bring it up.
I'll just say that Ogster played well, but also there was clearly times where he could have protected the ball a lot more. He was just kind of lucky that his kings were kind of like all like basically all the blocks that I did, most of them were against kings basically, and only having 2 armor breaks is also kind of annoying.
I mean,
you
you
know?
did only make 19 blocks, which is frankly impressive for a 16-turn game with 2 LOS hits. Well,
Yeah.
three LOS hits, right?
I think this was the game where I tried to also one turn and he got perfect defense. So
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
like the game didn't want me to get things done basically at some point.
I mean that clearly happens.
Yeah. Okay, so last game of the division is Mongloom's Jimmy's Leaping Avengers, his Kislev, against Physics Boys Van Esterlane. I think I watched some of this, and
I think
I
this might
thought
be
that
this might be the game that Spider was talking about.
what did Spider say?
No, in terms of him being happy with
I
his betting.
The tie between.
Yeah. I think I watched the bits of this. Like I was in Mongloom's stream and I watched, like I looked occasionally type thing, and I vaguely remember Van Esterlane absolutely murdering Mongloom, and I don't remember how Mongloom managed to get a draw out of this. So I think it was a a lot of Kislev dice must have gone into this being 2-2 because I think it looked very
We're
much
talking
like
about 8 casualties.
yeah. 8 Kaz, 4 KOs as well, 2 surfs.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's got even though he tends to run 4 goblins on his team, which is obviously unorthodox. The rest of his core 8 players are still very strong. In this kind of matchup, they're a bit of a nightmare for teams like Kislev to deal with.
Yeah. No, I hate playing against orcs. All the guard and like this team also has stand firm, which is a real issue. Make a lot of the plays you want to do with Kislev really problematic, and then you're getting banged out at the same time because they're just more bashy than you.
They're just snowballs, basically.
Yeah. So well done on Mongloom for getting a draw, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got to be said though that he's really stubborn with this 4 goblin approach, because like every time he gets goblins murdered, he just keeps rehiring them. So he obviously he's sticking to his guns.
Yes, he is, and I don't hate it. Cheap, replaceable linemen. They're fast.
Yeah,
they've got dodge,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think it's an interesting. I mean, hats off to him for doing something that is not sort of just cookie cutter. And for sure, I think it's an interesting way to go, especially because you can kind of, stunty dodge goblins into places that are useful as well, just to kind of complement the rest of the team.
I think we don't make enough as well of the tilt aspect of oh look, he's got 4 goblins, I'm going to punch his goblins every turn. Why aren't his goblins dying? This is so annoying.
That absolutely happened to me.
Yeah.
I was targeting them every time I could with my tackle pommer and just nothing. And then meanwhile my team was being removed left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Also this tie meant that I wouldn't be demoted only if I lost like 4-0, basically. This was the tie that saved me from getting demoted to tier 2.
And maybe, if we're talking about all these rerolls, maybe even promoted. You never know.
Very unlikely.
Yeah.
I think he should probably cross his fingers he doesn't get promoted.
Yeah, like next season is not gonna be fun for anyone there.
Oh yeah, champs. Sorry, I thought I after we were talking about tier 2, I was still in that tier 2 mindset. Of course not. Yeah. You're not getting promoted to champs with this. But yeah, you will stay in tier 1. Well done. Betting for that last game. Who went for a draw?
Betting. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Spider got this one right, and the
Ooh.
only other person who did was Palladius.
Ah. No one expected a draw.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No.
So it's all tied again at the top.
I mean, like not just at the top, but so yeah, Starberg definitely goes up. The betting, yeah. Back to you and Spider being equal, and Galentio dropping a point though, so he's down 4 points probably now.
Boo.
But in this division, Carmack's definitely going up and has been definitely going up for like 3 weeks now, or pretty likely to go up. I think 3 weeks ago. Starberg obviously clinched his place with his win, and Ant-Man Straw did it. Yes, it got him there on touchdown differential. He's got one more. But as we've said, there are 2 re-rollers in champs, so Hogster is getting sucked up, if you excuse the phrase.
Yep. It was a very close fight to see who got relegated also. We got 4 teams with the same points.
I was about to say, so Luke is actually... Oh, wait. Luke's not real team, right? That was Trunkhead.
Yeah, not a real team.
It's a replacement, yeah.
He's a replacement
I think he
team.
just cloned Trunkhead's team.
Yeah. So the following 5 teams, as that is all there is, only one of them, Tom, was secured demotion at the beginning of this week. The other 4, it's all based on touchdown differential?
Basically, yep.
And you've all got minus touchdown differentials as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So Van Esterlane and Mongloom have the same touchdown differential as well. So...
yeah, they're like Finistlane and Mongloom are getting demoted. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? With all the re-rollers, they could stay up. It does happen sometimes.
Yeah, they could.
I think they prioritize promoting people. But...
Yeah,
they do. But sometimes though, I have seen cases where teams that are on the edge of being demoted don't get demoted because of teams getting sucked up. So
yeah. And also like the number of teams dropping lower down is like this season in lots of leagues, lots of coaches are having had enough. I think we're getting lots of summertime tiredness of Blood Bowl possibly.
And the coming of Blood Bowl 3 in 2024.
The infinite coming of Blood Bowl 3. One day it will be here. It may not even be the Blood Bowl 2020 rule set. It may be a different set of rules by the time.
Yes, it's going to be the 2024 rule set.
I really doubt Blood Bowl. I mean, I really doubt Games Workshop is going to release another rule set in the next couple of years. But obviously, we never know.
I think they have to release the video game this year, even if it's broken, because I don't think the publisher is finding it funny already.
I expect it to be this Christmas or before the financial year, right? It'll be before March. That's the.
I mean, you would think that Christmas is just such a crucial kind of milestone to try and hit, right? Just to really boost the sales.
Yep, basically. I'll buy it.
Sorry, I can't hear anyone. I apologise. I've managed to unplug my headphones while trying to fix my green screen.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, just saying that I think Christmas is such an important milestone for them to hit. To obviously just stop the rot, as it were, with all the memes and just people getting fed up with the delays. And I mean, Christmas is a good time to kind of boost your sales.
It is.
Everyone is at home and stuff.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I have a vague recollection of them entirely missing a Christmas deadline that they had for Blood Bowl 2. as well, though. So we will see.
Yeah.
So yeah, are we going to carry on? Should we do? If you said only an hour, Danton, or you think you?
No, I can carry on probably for at least until the top of this hour. So
Okay.
yeah, let's crack on.
Yeah, we might be able to get through all the divisions in one go. That would be my. Oh, that's not.
Okay.
That's the old division.
So yeah, so then we don't need to do
an evening one.
A stream later. Yeah. So
Okay.
1B.
1B, yes. So the first game of 1B was Giraffe playing Papa Nasty and Papa Nasty wrecking her. I don't know anything about this game. She's not been. She's mostly not been streaming OCC anyway games, right? But she's talked a bit on her stream about losing every league game she's played, basically, which is kind of unfortunate. I
mean, I guess there might be a correlation with the results and not wanting to stream. I mean, I could just maybe getting a bit discouraged by. I mean, the team obviously. Undead, we know at this TV level can struggle, and she's obviously been finding that.
She has come back recently to streaming. I saw her like yesterday. She said I'm gonna focus on CCL basically and just.
But I mean, I can understand why if the team isn't doing well, that she would kind of not want to stream it, as it were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
And she lost one of her key whites in this game as well, by the looks of it.
Andy is dead. Poor Andy Davis.
I mean, he was niggled, so it was a little bit of a time bomb, but still an important piece.
Yeah, but when you're undead and you have such a good player, you don't fire him even if he has an eagle.
No,
regen.
Sure.
I mean, between blodge, regen, and piling on jump up, like you should be able to keep him kind of safe, but obviously not.
Yeah, but the teams will also target him a lot.
Yeah, it's still a massive foul target, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how I got killed, but it's a sort of player that you definitely want to.
Knowing these orcs, they just blocked him.
They just hit it.
They
just hit it.
Yeah, they didn't get a ridiculous amount of blocks, but it's quite a lot. But they did get a lot of armor breaks. So I would argue. But Giraffe is the only one who had a player sent off, but I would imagine there was fouling going on both sides. Giraffe has got a bribe stadium now, and she was at home, so both teams had at least one.
I wonder if that sort of came back to bite her.
I wonder if she bought the bribe stadium after all the talking about fouling and has decided to maybe embrace fouling a bit more, but I don't expect so. But we will see. So she got sent off. And then her team was beaten up and possibly also fouled off, which is even worse, isn't it? When your intention is to be the fouling team and you get fouled off.
So, you want the betting?
Yes. Go on then. Hit me.
Yeah. So I mean, the vast majority of people bet on this result.
Yep. It was top versus bottom, wasn't it? So
just based on the season of both of these teams, it was the logical kind of result. So alphabetically, myself. Oh, sorry, Broccoli as well.
Okay. Ooh, Broccoli. Yep. Then yourself. Yep.
Then Palladius.
Yup.
Galentio. Guido.
I almost gave Guido 2 points.
You.
Yep.
And the spider.
So the two of you stay on level pegging.
Yeah, Galentio keeps
4 points behind.
Keeps 4 points behind. Yep.
Okay, so the next game is Galentio's game, in fact, against Spider. I watched some of this? I don't remember what happened.
Galentio really let me down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I went hard. Like the first chance I got, I lightning bolted the skink. He survived, of course. And tried to steal the ball with the Agi5, but I snaked, of course. After that, it was a really close game. Like the result doesn't doesn't mirror how close the game was.
Hmm.
But basically, he gave me two turns to score back. Like he scored like on turn 6, and I set up for 2 turns, and he just got a blitz, and stole the ball and scored again.
Hmm.
Then I scored back rapidly to try to tie it up on the second half.
Yeah.
But then I don't know what happened on the third touchdown, but it was something also like silly.
No,
Like I could have.
did you have lots of removals by the third touchdown? I think I remember you running a bit low on players, right?
Oh yeah, right. This was the game where the team just got deleted also. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like in the second half, like in the first half I didn't have anyone removed. And in the second half, like every block was a removal basically.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I had like a couple of players in the field
I
all
think
laying down
I
and
think
just
I
ended the game.
I remember the end of the game was like you had a bunch of dice to hit the ball on
Oh yeah.
turn
What
13,
happened?
and then
Like I do a two. I like to the one the like the score is at 2-1. I have a good chance to steal the ball with the players I had.
yeah,
But then he got a touchback with
yeah,
the nice weather into bouncing bouncing in the ground out of the field.
yeah,
Um, and then he just put it on a Saurus. I tried to like up like I tried everything like one dicing the Saurus, like uphill dicing the
I mean,
Saurus, and never got the ball
it's
out of
worth
him.
it was worth noting he put it on the Juggernaut Saurus, so the one who didn't have
Yeah.
any protection skills like block. So
Yep.
uphilling was not a bad course of action.
It was like the only course of action I had because he was He was basically securing for the win
Hmm. Yeah,
and surrounding that player with guard. But even then, I was able to get some dices on him, and even so, like he just kept removing the elves because I was going for the ball really aggressively, and then I just like basically lost because of that because I didn't have enough players to steal the ball again.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's not like we both rolled good dice, but he rolled a bit better, and that blitz was like the GG point almost.
Mm.
Like that blitz into scoring right away was, and I even blitzed the skink that got the ball in the blitz, but then he bounced the ball and another skink caught it in a 6 and then just scored.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was the kind of game that was. So I was just like, yeah, it's a temporary team. I played like aggressively for the funs of it, but yeah. If
So,
it was a main team, I
Mhm.
probably could pull out a tie, but with that blitz, I'm not sure. That blitz was the key point of the game, and the 6+ catch also.
Yeah, so you were a temporary team, right? So, yeah, was it Kindred or Kinroth? I can't remember one of the K's.
Yeah, I think it was
Kinroth.
Kinroth had to drop out.
It was in like the first week as well, right? So, you actually played 9 games. Anyway,
It was a fun game,
Mhm.
at least.
Who bet on Spider to win?
A lot of people.
Yeah, this was a real tragedy because Galentio obviously went for himself, and I was the only other person who went for him as well. I really was confident Galentio would come through, but alas, this week his anti-lizard play has been less than what we would
Yeah.
expect.
I was actually watching both Spider and Galentio streams at the same time, I think, and I remember Spider was talking about he was pressing hard. He wanted to win, and I think he would have like the reason he scored a bit early was he intended to turn the high elves over and score again, type thing. So
No, I mean obviously I am jesting because
yeah,
Spider's team is
but
a
that kind of
strong
action will tend to lead to one team winning, right? It just depends which way around it goes.
Yeah. I mean for sure. So I mean, and elves, generally speaking, they can be tough for lizards to deal with. Especially, I'm not sure if do you have any leapers on your team, Galentio?
I had a leaper, but the skinks were also iron armor, basically. I blocked a lot of skinks with mighty blow and just
But
they just
yeah,
went down or stunned.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, more about stealing the ball, right? So if because
more about stealing the ball.
typically the lizards find it hard to protect the skinks from the kind of the aerial bombardment.
Also, I
Yeah.
think the
of elves.
touchback was the thing that made him much more secure with having
Yeah.
the ball. If the ball went to a skink, I don't think he would be able to protect the ball at all.
Well, and it's worth one of the things about Spider's team that I find very interesting for a 2000 TV lizard team is he has only guard on the Saurus, which I think is terrible. Like I'd really like more guard on this team.
Yeah, he's missing a lot of guard on that team.
And against a
I
team
mean,
with leaping,
obviously, Sundrop kind of makes up for that, right? In some ways, and his Crocs is pretty amazing.
Against elves, the sun dropping strength 6 is not that big of a deal, to be honest. You can just
I mean,
ignore him.
it's still I mean, it's got tackle and it can go where it wants, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just ignore it.
The first half, the
You
ball did
can't
spend a
just
lot of the
ignore
time
it.
on the ground. It's worth saying, there were sacks. The elves didn't get away with the ball.
Yeah,
There was
but
quite.
The thing with
get away.
Sundrop is he can get wherever he wants, but if he has to dodge more than once, he can't.
yeah.
Oh
You
no,
just
no,
have to
I know.
make sure he has to dodge more than once to get
Yeah.
where he wants to.
Yeah. Cool. So betting, a lot of people actually went with this result. So Braculi's been doing quite well this week.
Yep, he has. Because...
Berto.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ethel.
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah. Philadius.
Mm-hmm. I say ooh because I know that I didn't get any points.
Yeah, because you didn't.
I went for a draw.
Guido.
Yeah.
And the Spider taking the lead.
Ooh. Yeah. He did say that this was the game he was talking about where that gained him a point and you lost points.
Okay.
Okay.
Next we have
My
combat
game
against Dark Elves.
This was really exciting. I can't remember what happened. I killed a witch elf. I have a feeling I should have won this. 70 blocks to 30. But the dice just refused to help. Like I think he scored a bit early. I think he had a chance to score back and snaked.
So this is the team. I remember we were talking about this, I think, last week, that his team is pretty amazing from a startups perspective. But, we were looking at, I mean, he hasn't had like good results generally. I think he's sort of like a 50% more or less with this team, even though it's an amazing team. So what was your impression from his kind of positioning and just general play?
Yeah, as I said, I should have won this. I feel like, he was lucky to get the draw. And I had several opportunities to win. I probably could have pushed for the win a bit harder, but ended up taking too long. So basically, he scored kind of early. I ended up, getting into scoring range, but I think snaking towards the end of the first half. So didn't manage to score on his half, and then took too long scoring back and didn't have a chance to turn him over or whatever. So I feel like this was a win that I lost out on rather than
talking about amazing started up players. I mean, you did delete one of them and put a dent in another one.
I did a lot of damage. So I killed a witch, killed a loner. I strength bust a strength up. Agi guard though, so he's still probably worth keeping, isn't he? And he also scored 2 touchdowns before I strength busted him.
I don't think you can.
No, scored 2 touchdowns. He must have made a pass and what's it? I can't remember.
It's 50. You're paying 50 TV tax on it.
For an Agi 5 leaping guarder though, that's a great player. But yeah, I don't feel he used his team well enough. Although I think I did position well again. I'm pretty used to leaping teams playing a lot of Kislev, so I don't find that too scary. I don't think he didn't like. So it's the planning. It's not the turn that you do the sacking. It's the turn before and the turn before that, and where you position things. to make sure that you're going to get a chance on the ball later. And I don't think he did that very well, if I remember rightly.
Okay.
But usual Norse armor. I lost one player who got strength bust, and obviously he's fired.
Yeah. There was a bit of Norsing going
Yeah.
on, and I imagine quite a bit of fouling.
A little bit of fouling.
Even though we've obviously established that you don't like to foul, but despite that, you still managed to get a few boots in, I'm sure.
It's not that I don't like to foul. I feel like I don't foul enough. I want to foul more. I did have 2 players sent off, and there was definitely some fouling, but I don't consider myself, a true artiste of the fouling arts. I'm not good at it. I just do it a little bit occasionally.
I definitely don't consider myself to be a fouling sort of expert, but I think it's more about just kind of knowing in terms of what team you have and what the matchup is and what the situation is, just how much fouling you should do. Obviously, it depends on the opportunities that present themselves, right?
I remember I did foul quite a lot, and I stream this, and I think that there were comments about it in Discord or possibly Twitch chat. But my most important plan was to get my newly bought Berserker levels. So I gave him the ball early on, and he got Kaz the first time he got punched by the Dark Elves, which was annoying.
But we all know that being a Berserker on a Core 9 team is just a recipe for early retirement or death.
Interviews close to the sources say that he's very happy that it was only a badly hurt and not death, as most Berserkers normally suffer. But yeah, or maybe he's not happy. Maybe he wants to go to Valhalla. Actually, that should be the thing, shouldn't it? Anyway, who went for the draw?
Anyway, only 2 people got this one right, and neither of them were important.
Stop saying important, Jesus. Go on.
Too late. The important meme is established.
It's a puddle.
Palladius, who, I think definitely I agree with you. I think that if he had joined earlier, he could well have been he could well be considered as important. But
I think he would have run away with it. I think if this was a percentage thing of how many you bet on, I think Palladius is close enough to 100% that if I cared, I would check to make sure he's not putting in the bets after the game's played.
There is that as well. Yeah, I don't think anyone has been checking on that, so that's a good point. The other person is Guido.
Yeah, 56. I he's definitely not getting all of them. So maybe he's occasionally picking the wrong ones on purpose. I don't know. Not to suggest that such a thing would happen, of course. All right. So the next game is Dalibor against Crunky Chops, which was the last game of the season, and basically
no, in this division there's one more after this.
Was the last played, by time. I meant,
Oh, okay.
So I played my game and got a draw and was waiting to see what would happen to this game.
I think there's a tier 3 game that the admins were leeway and let play today, but we'll see. So there might be a game on Division 3.
In this division, this was the last game that was played, and I was waiting for the result to see whether I would be promoted, because I think if Crunky Chops won by 5 goals, then I wouldn't have got promoted. But they didn't. The opposite happened. Dalibor actually won, so I'm very glad that Dalibor actually tried to stop and win this game, and not just give up on it because he doesn't care. But and Dark Elves are actually a kind of slow team, which is to me what is almost most important for vampires, is that the opposition can't just run away from them too much.
Yeah, although when we get to the champs, we'll see that being fast and agile is not necessarily all you need against vampires.
Yeah, boy, was that a surprise result. But anyway, congratulations, Dalibor. But who bet on him?
So actually, surprisingly few people, because as you said, I think on paper, the Vamps, they definitely have some advantages, but Dark Elves are still tricky arms. But yeah, only you and Galentio, the only two.
Wow. So Galentio claws back a point into being almost important.
He's almost
Sorry.
important. Yeah, he's been
Um,
lacking in importance recently, but yeah.
Next season I'll do better, I promise.
I just noticed the number of
Okay,
blocks. Jesus Christ, the Dark Elves got 60 blocks and the Vamps got 21. That's crazy, that difference.
Jesus. I'll be right back. My throat is killing me, so
Cool.
I might be out for like 10, 15 minutes, I guess.
Well, no,
Worries.
there's one more. Okay.
You can always troll us in the chat.
Yeah,
Galentio.
you can type. We as long as there's one person here holding my hand, I don't mind. All right, so the last game was Javelin's Wolves of the Cala against Count Mathes's Kingdom of Swalia. I think this was a surprise result, wasn't it?
It was, if you look at the betting, although it wasn't, if you consider that the only two people who got this right were you and I.
Excellent. Yeah, I think I just vaguely remember. But Count Mathis was maybe second in the division, and Javelin was not doing so well. I guess you can't, use the form of the previous season to determine how well individual games go. Because I think Javelin's possibly had an unlucky season, and maybe Mathis has had a good one, but
I mean,
or the other way around.
Yeah, I always find it hard to bet against Javelin just because he's got, Necro at this kind of TV level, especially if you've got, a solid core of positionals, is always a really competitive team. But on paper, Necro are just better than Birds at this TV level. But like you say, I mean, maybe he hasn't been having, stellar results.
I mean, at most TVs, most teams are better than Bert's. I'd say. Bert's okay.
I have a soft spot for Birds. Even at high TV, I actually prefer Birds to humans. But
yeah,
they are a bit of an odd team for sure.
Yeah, the advantages humans have is definitely a lot better lower down. Although Bert's kind of can get a bit bloaty with bad skills sometimes.
I mean, but Birds, the fact they have so much cheap fodder, they I don't know, they just get, for me, they build up, especially if you roll obviously a few stats and doubles and things like that. They just pretty solid at high TV.
I do think an anti-4 blitzer is almost necessary for Berts to do well, and I don't think it's a coincidence that both Bert teams we've seen in
and having like one killer blitzer as well is obviously very useful.
Yeah, I mean, but you also have 4 blitzers, so the chance of rolling a stat up or a double is actually not bad, right?
Yeah. Indeed. So, did you add the betting? It's just you and I.
Oh, okay. Did I already add that?
No, you didn't.
No. Oh, so that puts you back.
I can tell because I'm now level with Spider again.
And I'm on 48.
And I think it's gonna be hard for Ethel to catch you now. He's literally got to get everything right in the last one, and you get everything wrong.
Yeah, but you never know. Oh no, yeah, you're right. I have beaten Ethelred. Woo! Just the important people now to work out what order they're in. Lol.
I think Galentio as well. I mean, he's got to literally get everything right as well in champs, and Spider and myself get everything wrong.
The fact that both of you have to get everything wrong is also like doubly unlikely, right? So
yeah.
But we haven't quite finished 1B yet. So going up, obviously Brilliant Green, Papa Nasty's Orcs, who have also been much like Carmack qualified for like last 3 weeks. Spider scrapes in with his last win against Galentio, which if it had been a draw, I don't think he would have qualified at least without being sucked up. I think he might have been in 4th place. I can't remember. Javelin's win also puts him in the top 3 who definitely go up. And I, because of my draw, am in 4th, which if the re-rollers stay, will mean I get sucked up, but we will see.
So the important thing is, next season, will you be in the core knight position?
I was thinking about this. Like, I think there is a very distinct possibility that if I do get sucked up, that yes,
I
I
think-
will be.
I think it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough season. For sure.
It might be the season I cement the corner position meme, which would be kind of horrific.
I think really that is what you're playing for, right?
Obviously
is
not.
To try and dispel the core knight position meme.
I mean, getting above where Ethelred finished the one time that he got into champs 40 years ago is obviously my main aim. Actually, no, that's a lie. My main aim is to win. I want to be the first Norse coach to win OCC.
I mean, I think
that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah, if you manage to pull it off. But,
and I don't hate the matchups that much, but it's going to be tough, right? All the coaches are really good.
You've still got the altar, right? And you're definitely going to be, like, I think, TV underdog in virtually every match, right?
Yeah.
So, Cheney on speed dial.
Yeah. Cheney and Bomber.
I'm actually, so new CCL season starting this week. And I've already created 2 teams. And one of them is actually Norse with an altar. And the other one is Goblins with an altar. I thought I'd have a bit of altar fun this season.
I mean, I've enjoyed playing dwarfs with an altar this season. I think
but dwarfs with an altar is just so cheesy.
Yeah, it is. It feels a bit cheating, frankly.
I mean, it is basically cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I think goblins with an altar, it just it feels like they should be allowed just to have an altar anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Norse with an altar, I think, is kind of fun.
It is.
Actually, so I wonder what you think of this roster. I went with the 2 Ulfs, 1 runner, 1 thrower, the rest linos, the altar, obviously, and 1 reroll. So the idea with the thrower, obviously, being to get leader on him.
Yeah. I took a leader at some point I took a thrower at some point in OCC with the intention of getting leader on him, and oh my god, the number of 1 in 90 rolls when you're trying to bounty pass with him is horrific.
Just score with him instead of bounty passing with him.
Yeah, well, you also want to get your runner SPP as well, right? What's kind of more important? More important for winning is getting the runner to blodge. Yeah. I think.
But if first game, for example, you manage to get 2 TDs on your thrower, then you're set. I mean,
also you're trying. I guess if you're playing all to Norse, you're not going to be scoring on the Ulfs. But that's what my first TDs are usually on the Ulf runner.
Because you're just not putting rerolls into anything that's not vital.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, no, you can still try an Ulf pickup if you feel like you're in a strong enough position.
I mean, if you are Norsing the opponent, then sure.
Exactly. All right. So that's it. And going down, Galentio, its temporary team disappears. Giraffe is definitely going down. Alessus is, I think, possibly sitting out. I think is Giraffe sitting out as well. I think Giraffe might be a 1 actually. I'm not sure if she's coming back. I'm not sure if Galentio being a temporary team means that Crunky Chops gets demoted as well. I think Galentio was saying that was the case, but I'm not entirely certain.
I don't know.
All right.
I mean, no, I would say no. Especially with the re-rolling happening, I would be really surprised if those farms get demoted.
Well, personally, I think if you've got a replacement team, them being removed, them playing a whole season, even if they finish in a demotion spot, should still count.
I mean, they should of course they should count as a normal team.
Otherwise,
for the purposes of promotion and demotion.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you need to more strongly consider Carmack's proposal, which I think I've not heard anything from him recently about that. I wonder if he got a reply from Pidpad about it. But yeah, his suggestion that teams that give away admin results should have all their games kind of nullified. And that conversation came because of champs, he says.
Segueing perfectly into the final division.
Because, who was it? Because Bork's Horned Dummies, a replacement team that gave RTSD a free win, which resulted in them having a stay in the champs position, even though RTSD has had enough of Blood Bowl and is not coming back. Gimlick versus Old One. That one got played, didn't it? Did that one only get played yesterday or something?
It did get played, and I think. Do you not have the client open? I think that Old One won this one.
I have found it and I have opened it on screen. Boom. So yes, you are right. Bam, Old One won 2-0 against Gimlick.
Yeah, which is surprising. I think. I mean, so betting wise, only 2 people actually went for that result. So, and on paper, I think Gimlick's team obviously had been having a better season, and maybe he's a slightly more experienced coach. But yeah, I wonder what happened.
I mean, there's not much of Bam's team coming into this game for a 2,000 TV team. I mean, I know they're elves, so 12 players automatically means you're kind of high TV, but like, and they've got a couple of agi ups. But it's
I mean, he's
still,
got a strength up, and yeah, he's
right,
got quite a few stats.
yeah, the strength that doesn't have has no protection skills as well, which is all, you know, and no
Yeah.
dodge. So you know, he's a bit risky, right?
Although in this matchup, it's not so. I mean, it's more of a liability, obviously, against the team with proper killers. Although, I mean, the Gimlick does have a jump up Pommer.
Yeah, and also, you know, a wizard I think was what may have swayed me to bet on Gimlick, because you know elves with a wizard against,
Yeah.
you know. All right, so you kind of expect them to turn the ball over at some point.
So this might have been another one where the spider was crowing about his prediction ability, because he got this one right,
Ooh.
along with Ethelred. So Ethelred starting the climb to maybe tie with you. We shall see if he
I mean,
manages that or not.
the fact
Oh no,
that
he won't, because there's an admin result. Yeah.
yes, that I was about to. I was looking at the next game and was literally about to say,
Yeah.
oh, wrong button. Oh, not that one either. Jesus. Yes, so the next game was Bork's game against RTSD, which was an admin result, much to Carmack's chagrin. Yeah, so that one doesn't count for the betting, so there will be no bets on that.
So this is basically because Carmack does not want to face RTSD's team next season, I would imagine.
And he won't anyway because RTSD is re-rolling.
That's
or
true.
sitting out,
Yeah.
in fact.
Oof, if imagine if he had stayed as well. I mean, that would have turned a horrible Bashi division into an even more horrible Bashi division.
Yeah, I'm still like the division's not out yet. I'm still, you know, crossing my fingers that the people who said they're re-rolling are going to stick with re-rolling, because I could well imagine both RTSD and Guido coming back next season, especially as Guido, I think you can, as we've kind of given away, has won OCC, and has been said in Discord. So, you know, congratulations, Guido. But we'll come to that after this game, which isn't showing in Spike at the moment, and that is Andy's game against Kielstad, which ended up 4-2 to the Vampires.
I actually watched most of this. Did you catch it?
No, I didn't. No, I think I was playing a game. No, I was busy. Sorry. Yeah. So yesterday was first day of school, and my son came back from school, and then I didn't think about Blood Bowl at all, even though I had a game scheduled. Oh, not yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. So what happened?
I came in around turn 4 or 5 of the first half, I think. And Kielstad was already 1-0 up. He went first on his drive. So, I'm not sure exactly whether he kind of scored right away or whether he had any trouble on his first drive. But Andy, I mean, so what was interesting was that, like, when his commentary, I think he was seriously paranoid about the Vamps' kind of ability to do bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that may have kind of bitten him slightly in that
if you excuse the pun.
Yeah, excuse the pun, which was not intended. But there were definitely times where he was kind of second guessing himself because of what the Vamps could do, maybe to his detriment. And I mean, Kielstad did what he normally does, which is obviously play pretty hyper aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it paid off. I mean, there was definitely you know, there were definitely a few key ones that that Andy rolled that were, I mean, typically, as most elf teams find, if you're rolling some ones in critical sequences, then it tends to go, it can go pretty badly for you, especially in the second half. There was a blitz with his strength 4 war dancer that needed a 2+ dodge from tackle that snaked. And Kielstad actually rolled a lot of ones on his lusts, but I think he did a good job of managing those generally. There were a few crucial kind of pro rolls that helped to salvage a couple too. But just overall, yeah, I think there was another critical play where so Kielstad had managed to sack Andy. So I think this was a really critical stage in the game where it was still just 1-0 in the first half. Kielstad managed to sack the ball deep after Andy failed the GFI into the end zone. So this was one of the plays where he burned a 1 in the sequence, got the ball to a liner who had to do 2 GFIs to score, and you know, tripwired into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Kielstad managed to get the ball on one of his vamps deep, but then didn't really screen it off properly, which I found a bit strange. He had a chance to put a thrall, you know, like to make a decent screen, but he left like a pretty easy 2D with the strength 4 war dancer. But then the scatter was pretty kind to the vamps, and Andy had to kind of leap and do a GFI to get next to the ball. And he kind of sat there thinking about whether it was worth making another dodge and GFI to pick the ball up with the strength 4 war dancer, who had, you know, having burned the reroll already on the play.
Yeah.
And took it and obviously won on the GFI, and that was just critical. If that war dancer had stayed standing, you know, its strength 4 blood sidestep, there was a vamp who could kind of just about get there with a couple of GFIs, but I mean, that just made all the difference. And also the scatter on the ball just made it easier for the vamps to recover it, and they ended up, you know, going 2-0 up.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was just a really critical play. You just shouldn't have done that GFI. I mean, you know, even obviously it having failed, it's easy to say you shouldn't have done it. But you know, I just think the failure state was so much worse
Than making the vamps roll dice, and
yeah.
you know, and like even if, well, are you saying there was a vamp who could have made it with a GFI? Is that the vamp could have
There was a vamp,
gazed,
but he
or the
couldn't.
vamp?
The vamp could not have made it to the ball. There was a vamp who could have made 2 GFIs to either blitz or gaze that war dancer.
Mm-hmm.
But then he would have had to pick up with a thrall. But the thrall had to kind of go 2 squares to pick up the ball and was really deep in his own half. So the thrall didn't really have any good options then to get the ball upfield.
And that's already a 3+3+, right? Because I assume the gaze wasn't an Agi 5 player doing the gaze.
No, it
might have been.
I think it was the Agi 5 because it was the move busted one, who is the only Agi 5, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was a 2+ gaze.
He's not Agi 5. He's Agi bust. So there isn't an there isn't an Agi 5.
It's no. So there's a move bust one, right? Who is Agi 5, and there's a move up one who was Agi 5 who got Agi busted.
Can't see them on Spike. That's intriguing.
Really?
Hmm.
Scroll down.
Yeah, no, I just did. I'm looking in Blood Bowl 2. Maybe Spike's not showing it, or it's picking the wrong, or it's not showing the stats of the player correctly.
That's weird.
It is. Silverwin said, I watched all of this. What happens if a vamp gazes the ball carrier? Does he drop the ball? No, it doesn't make him drop the ball. In Blood Bowl 2, you know, yeah, he loses tackle zones. So in both cases, actually, in Blood Bowl 2, you know, that's all that happens. In Blood Bowl 2020, that actually means that a lot of skills require you to have your tackle zones to use them. So Gaze is so much more powerful in 2020. You actually no longer have block and dodge, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's a 2+ for vamps in Blood Bowl 2020. It's because they're adds 2+, so it's easier, but obviously they have to deal with animal savagery.
Mr. Clean is not showing in this game report.
He was definitely on the pitch.
He was definitely on the pitch. That's weird, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure he was on the pitch.
Intriguing. Anyway, let's carry on.
I don't know. Unless, I mean, maybe he was MNG. Possible he was MNG, and I just got it mixed up.
Yeah.
It could have been the other.
But yeah, so let's assume it was one of the not Agi for vampires. That would have been 3+ and another 3+ for the thralls pick up the ball.
Yeah, but also, I
two
mean,
1 in 9s.
even if the thrall, even let's say that all of that worked and the thrall picked the ball up, you still had like to do like a 5 or 6 plus pass to get the ball away from a bunch of elves right next to his end zone. I mean, so to me, that the GFI just basically made it so that it was a lot easier for because he actually managed to then pick the ball up with that vamp because of the scatter, hand off to the thrall, and then the thrall had a lot more movement to get down the field.
Yeah. And Tom says Mr. Clean wiped the records, I guess, using his hip.
No, he was probably MNG. I'm probably just misremembering it.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it makes sense actually if he was MNG because Kielstad did get inducements for this game, and I think he took Igor, the thick skull thrall, so it makes sense that he had less TV because of that.
Not just thick skull, he is the ultimate in thrall. He also has regeneration. Yeah. So if you
he does. He did in the second half, though. So I saw one bite in the second half where Thick Skull kept him on the pitch, but then the next time it happened, he actually got cast, so it made no difference.
But it's still, he's the best best thrall that you can get, even if, like all star players, he's a little bit overcosted, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, I think Andy was bemoaning, rolling quite a few ones, but definitely I think there were a couple of decisions where he maybe didn't do the optimal thing at the same time. So I mean, and Kielstad put him under so much pressure that that mistakes obviously can come about because of that.
Yeah, Silfwin's agreeing with you that basically that was the key play, and if Andy didn't move the dancer, and he remembers Andy saying that against other teams he would not have moved him.
Exactly. So that's what I was talking about. When Andy was second guessing himself.
Yeah, like, I feel like
that was a key example of that.
Yeah, I feel like has Andy played much vampires? I don't think he has. And I think like he has a bit of a blind spot for stunty teams as well because I think he doesn't play them enough. And both vampires and stunty teams play so differently from the other races that I feel like this isn't the first time that he's been beaten when people don't expect him to because the team is a team he's not used to playing. I think it's happened too often for it to be a coincidence, right? Like he's been beaten by goblins on TT a couple of times now, and I think he has trouble with teams that he's not well versed in himself, especially when they have odd rules like stunty and hypno. And vampires do play so differently. Anyway, who bet on Kielstad? I bet you almost no one did because
two people.
Because those two people must be crazy.
Those two people are insane, I think, because one of them is Berto, who people established is crazy, and the other one is you. So you clearly back up the theory of just insane people.
I'd like to point out, Silfwin, that I was describing myself as crazy. I knew I'd bet on it. I didn't know you had. And yeah, Galentio says he'll be lurking for the rest of the stream.
I was very tempted to bet on Kielstad, more from the point of view that I thought it would have been a great result for the champs if he won. But I kind of went for the safe option, which didn't turn out to be so safe.
I'm pretty sure I said exactly last week that I was betting on Kielstad as a I hope he wins rather than I believe he'll win type choice. So, Blood Bowl, baby. Anything can happen. And so that puts Kielstad 3 points higher, but he was
sitting out, I think.
Definitively
anyway.
mid-table at the best anyway. So
I think he's missing next season anyway.
All right, so the next game was Guido against Nibelin, which was first. Wasn't Nibelin quite high at the beginning? No, clearly not.
No, Nibelin kind of. I think we talked about this last week. Despite his team being called Motivated Squad, I think he was very unmotivated for at least the second half of the season. He was literally just saying he was waiting for the season to end and playing kind of on autopilot. But you can still play Chorfs on autopilot and win or draw.
Yeah, in fact, RTSD played Chorfs in UK BBL, and I think it was RTSD that said this. He said he got worse at playing Blood Bowl because he was so used to just being able to guard lock and have tackle and everything that he needed, and just base and bash and not think about the game too much.
Yeah, and then you got when something does miraculously go wrong, you just have bull centaurs to just do bullshit, and that's all you need.
Yeah, well, it might have been Hippie actually. I can't remember. It was one of the two who was playing Chorfs somewhere and said basically it makes playing them made him lazier at thinking and therefore worse.
They are definitely Blood Bowl easy mode. I think if any team can be accused of that, it's Chorfs. I mean, when you start, so at TV 1000, maybe they're not like so overpowered, but then they just scale so amazingly strongly in terms of TV efficiency.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Is like they're not so easy at the beginning. So like if you're thinking, like a lot of people talk about Chorfs winning a lot of CCL titles, they're not easy to get off the ground, and you'll play a lot of you'll restart the team often if you're playing in CCL. But I guess in a long league format where maybe you're playing some easier teams at the bottom of the league as well, that's not so much of a problem. You just have to work your way up over the seasons, and then by the time you get up here, you'll have a great team. They did manage to kill Guido's one turner.
Yeah. So actually, two less. I think a lot of the people who hate one turners or natural one turners will be happy that there are two less natural one turners at the end of this season.
Yeah.
With Brian obviously still being alive but not being a natty anymore.
Yeah. And already being a legend, so he can't get the third movement up to fix himself.
Exactly.
Not unless you get to 1,010 SPP.
He's still an amazing player to have on a human team, but yeah.
So and the Chorfs I think they're sitting out anyway, but they also got demoted. Not much happened except they scored 2 touchdowns.
No, so betting wise, this is actually really easy. I think this is the first time I can ever remember every single person betting on the same result, which was everyone bet on Guido to win. So I don't know if that's because everyone wanted Guido to kind of pip Andy at the post, as it were.
But I think this was talked about a lot because of and ended up being the whole conversation about whoever it was dropped out, giving admin wins to players. 2 weeks ago, the idea of Guido winning seemed very unlikely. Andy was getting a free admin win. Guido had to win both of his last 2 games against not easy opponents. And Andy's last game was against Vamps, which theoretically Wood Elves should find not the hardest game, and Andy's not a bad coach. Andy's a very good coach.
Maybe this is why Carmack has gone silent again, because order has been restored, balance has been restored in the force. With these final results.
So there were definitely a lot of people who were willing Guido to win, and when he got a draw, I definitely felt like, oh, that's sad. He got so close. He won last week, so he's managed to keep to the same points as Andy, but all he got was a draw. and Andy's definitely at least going to get a draw. And I think he had the goal difference as well. So if Andy got a draw, he wins OCC. And but because he lost the previous game and Guido managed to get the draw, that makes Guido the champion with the elder children.
Indeed.
And he's sitting out. So
and he is sitting out, I think, but because he's got like a lot of work coming up or something. But no, I mean, huge congrats to Guido. It's worth mentioning that he very almost was crowned champion like a couple of seasons earlier, and at the very last in the very last round, I think his team almost got deleted, and he then sat out and came back, with a kind of a very basic. Well, I mean, he still had a core of some decent players, but a pretty low TV. I think I faced him in the first round. He had like 5 or 6 loners against me.
Yeah, like so his roster's been small, but he had a natty and some guard.
Yeah, I mean,
which is
he still had like 1 or 2 really nice blitzers, 2 nice catchers. He had like a good core, but he had a lot of loners at the start of the season. So he's done really, really well given the makeup of the division and
the shape of his team.
Yeah, he fully deserves to be crowned champion.
So yes, congratulations to Guido.
Or Guido if you're pronouncing it properly.
Sorry, I blame Ethelred for inflicting that mispronunciation on me.
It's okay. We can blame most things on Ethelred.
Galentio says, "Will next season be the end of Division 5 because not a lot of players are joining in?" Like, I definitely think there's a lot of like, UKBBL definitely had a lot fewer registrations recently. Although I think this season's okay. When UKBBL was having troubles 2 seasons ago, OCC was doing all right. So I think OCC has actually managed to weather some storm, and the storm's just happening now.
Yeah, but it's inevitable. I think that the numbers kind of start getting chipped away.
Yeah. We haven't talked about the last game of the season though, which was your game.
We don't have to talk about that one. We can just move on.
And Wolfbark beat you.
Yeah, Wolfbark. I mean, Wolfbark. So, his team is in pretty good shape. Yeah, and even with the fact that his team is looking really well, he had a shit ton of inducements on top of that against me with an awful altar. So yeah, that wasn't something I was looking forward to. I think he took. I can't remember what he took. Glart and Bomber, I think.
Yeah, he did. Bomber, Dribble, Snot, Glart.
Yeah, and I can't remember if he took anything else on top of that, or whether
that's only 170 with an altar, right?
Yeah.
So
he didn't have a wizard, so I'm just trying to struggle to remember. And maybe he had a bribe. Maybe he took a bribe.
Yeah, there's only about 100. There's only about 100 TV difference left after that.
Yeah, could have been a bribe, or no, actually, or it might have been an extra Apo. I think it was an extra Apo that he took.
Although Wolfbark's at 3, he's sitting out, right?
Sitting out, yeah.
The choice of taking an extra Apo at the last game of the season is definitely the choice of someone who thinks they might come back, right? That's protecting the team for the future, right?
Yeah, I think because he's sitting out this season doesn't mean he won't come back. He's done that before. I think he's taken a season off with this team and come back. I think.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But yeah, I mean, just to give you a quick rundown of the game, he went on offense first. I think I put him in. He scored slightly earlier than I expected, risking kind of a 3+ handoff to his rookie line rat, which he had to re-roll but made it, and so he scored in around turn 4 or 5. I then managed to score back in, I think, 2 or 3 turns after that. So he had like I think he had a 2-turner to try and go ahead, obviously with That would still leave me a 1-turn attempt if he scored it.
Mhm.
But I managed to stop his 2-turn. So halftime it was 1-1. And oh yeah, so this is actually a really important bit of information. The whole match was played with sweltering heat.
Oh yeah, no, I think
Um,
yeah, okay.
which is just a nightmare. And the first half, the sweltering heat affected him more than me, but he had like a 4-player bench. I think he had like 15 players or something,
Yeah,
or 14. Yeah.
he goes into the game
So
usually with 14 and then has 2 more. He might have been 1 player down, so I think he
so
might have had 15.
so even with the sweltering heat taking out like 3 or 4 of his players, he still had like a full team. The only thing it meant that he had to put the bomber dribble snot on the line. I think in his first. Well, I mean, he didn't have to put it on the line, but
He had to
he
bring it
did put
onto
it
the
on the
pitch.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to bring it on the pitch sort of in my first drive. And I hit it with my tackle bomber and immediately removed it for the rest of the game. But I mean, it's only 10k worth of inducement, so
Yeah.
that I mean, it probably just did its job dying instead of something else.
Yeah.
And then the second half was where suddenly the Heat took out 2 of my key players, and it didn't take out any of his at all, I think. And oh yeah, and Brian got fouled out in the first half. So when I started my drive in the first half, there was a pitch invasion. He had fame, took down like obviously more players of mine than his, including Brian. But then he kind of overcommitted, really trying to press forward and pressure my other catcher deep, and that let me kind of do a pass to a lineman who could run totally clear into his half, which slightly surprised me that he overcommitted like that. But then trying to kind of close the screen around that lineman, Brian snaked a GFI and was like left exposed, and he fouled him, badly hurt him. I didn't appo him, so he was gone for the second half. And then, second half, I was without Brian. I was down a couple of key players, like the other catcher, I think, was affected by the heat, as well as a blitzer, I think, or some other player. And then I basically tried to go for a 2-turn score. Had to re-roll a handoff to a blitzer, and this is actually something that bit me, was that to complete the so I handed off to my strength 4 blitzer, Blodge blitzer, and I'd forgotten that he got move busted. So he had to do a final GFI. He had to do like a dodge, which the dodge reroll, worked, and he had to do a final GFI to be in like fully safe. And he obviously won on the GFI. Wolfbark was able to, kind of swoop in, get the ball, and that was pretty much GG. The whole second half, I was just trying to pressure, with less players, to get the ball back, and it just wasn't happening. So yeah, in the end, it was reasonably comfortable win for him.
Yeah, and like it turns out having a massive bench can be really helpful when things like
Well,
heat
yeah,
and
especially
removals
with the
happen.
Heat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's one of those games where it was kind of disappointing, in the end. But I mean, fair play to Wolfbark. I mean, he did everything. I mean, except for that slight overcommittal in the first half, I thought he just played really solid, like he normally does.
Yeah. So who bet on Wolfbark to win?
So surprisingly, few people went for him. Wolfbark himself, with his token bet, and you, following up with your craziness, got it right.
Crazy to think the Wolfbark would beat you.
Crazy. And that means that Spider is crowned the new champion.
Yep. And as you can see, I've actually ordered them by points so everyone can see where they've ended up.
So this is where we can obviously, we still have time to just kind of remove some points from him. Because he'll never watch the board.
No, never. Not a chance. All right. I will. Oh, I was looking at the mouse on the screen, and that was actually
So
Yeah.
just to comment as well, I've also obviously said I'm sitting out next season. I mean, I would have been demoted. But yeah, next season I've probably got a lot happening, personal life. So but definitely not discounting coming back maybe the season after.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean you're not going to come and join us on this, or you're going to maybe still pop in every so often?
No, I still want to pop in. I mean, because I'd like to participate in the fantasy league as well. So yeah, I mean, if time permits, definitely would like to jump on sometimes.
Cool. Ace. All right. Cool. Well, that's the show done, right? Only and
Yeah.
in 2 hours. Yeah. So actually not that
2 hours
long.
and a bit.
So
And
OCC sign-ups are open now. If you're watching this and you're not in OCC already, which I would be kind of surprised about, then go and join up and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe it's a good time to plug the league.
Yeah.
It's a really well-established league, been around since the early days of Blood Bowl 1. So yeah, we said this was season 26 of Blood Bowl 2. Some definitely a whole wide range of coaching levels, especially further down the divisions. But as you kind of get up to the top divisions, most coaches are pretty competent. And definitely, it's a sort of league that's like eternal progression. So you are going to get some monstrous teams in the higher tiers. So if you don't like facing horrible teams, maybe it's not the sort of environment for you. But you can still have fun in the lower tiers if you prefer to do it that way.
I mean, I feel like RTSD leaving is kind of the last bastion of the massive, horrible murder team that I can think of, right? Like there are other bashy teams, but they're not.
Yeah,
like,
Stahlberg's team. I mean, it's a pretty horrific team, Stahlberg's team. There's still. I mean, Ant-Man's team is pretty horrible. There are still some Papa Nasty's orcs. That definitely there are some killer teams around still.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I don't see this as I've seen much worse than this, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure OCC used to be much worse than this, but I mean, you're still gonna face teams like this. Is all I'm saying. Is if you get to the higher tiers.
I personally think this is not bad at all. This is nothing compared to the zenith of murder kill teams that I've seen on some long term leagues.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, it's not. I mean, and Stahlberg we do kind of label him as a bit of a banger, but he does develop quite a few of his beastmen into other kind of Swiss Army roles, which shows that he's not just a kill everything mentality.
Yeah. And I have just posted the link for sign-ups into chat in case there should be anyone who isn't in OCC already and wants to join and has decided to watch us talk about OCC for 2 hours. There's a link to join it. I think that's unlikely, but there you go. Yeah, exactly, Galentio. I agree. RTSD when his team was peak murder kill was terrible, but I don't think it is even that bad anymore, right? He's received.
No, he's lost. He's lost. I mean, well, thanks to me, he lost his one murder warrior, and then there were definitely a couple of murderous pestigores I think he used to have that died.
More people need to play fun teams. People who run Underworld or Goblins and Giga Chads, says the previous Underworld coach, Tom Affable. I'm playing Norse. Danton's playing humans. Those are typically not. I think actually, like we talked about the murderness, but actually, I don't think it's too bad. I think there's probably quite a few. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about my butt. Ignore me.
I mean, on the other end of the stake, right? Some people don't like playing against 2000 TV Wood Elves either, right? So it's not just murder teams; it's also high TV elf teams that some people don't see as being fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to win a league like this, then obviously your best bet is to play a competitive team.
Yeah. Yeah, it is indeed.
But yeah, I mean, I've been playing with humans because I just like the challenge of, yeah. I mean, no one's ever won it with humans, and to me, it's it's a nice challenge to try and win something like this with a tier 2 team.
I don't know who Sam 40k is, but I have a feeling this team was in the OCC top tiers at some point, and he's just left this team sitting here. Look at this. This is way worse than the Stallbogs team, right? There's what, 6 players with Mighty Blow, most of them also with Claw, two piling on.
This is more bangery.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm afraid of when I think about joining Eternal Leagues. And I don't think any of the teams in the champs this year are like that, or that I've seen in tier 1.
No, I mean, definitely, I think for sure it was worse at some point.
Yeah. Back in my day, human catchers were AV7, says Tom Affable.
Yeah.
And they still are on tabletop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Human coaches have it easy now. Yeah.
Although they are 10k cheaper.
Yeah. I think that's worth it for the AV8, though. I definitely prefer to have.
And nowadays, you can just give them sneaky git and just use them to foul people.
Nowadays, that's been a thing since forever. That was a thing.
Well, not giving them sneaky git, but making them foul people. Maybe. Yeah.
Because they're so cheap. But, with the AV7, even more so, right? Were they like, what, 60k for a catch?
They're 60k now, I think, in 2020, right?
Yeah, like fouling with a very mobile dodge fouling piece is not bad, right?
Yeah. I think if you're running like 3 catchers or something, making one of them like your dedicated fouler in the new rules is probably not a bad idea.
And wait a second, is Andy definitely staying in the league?
He put a, last time I saw he put a 1, so yeah.
Yeah, he's got 1. Okay, cool.
Interesting note, another thing I just remembered is that he did on one of his turns elect to use multiple block with the tree, which resulted in two dice hits instead of a 3 dice hit, and the second one was a 1 in 9. So if you're gonna take multiple block on a tree, then you have to accept the consequences.
Yeah. Although I think the multiple block was worth it for one turn play I saw where he did multiple block 2 players, grab them and use both of them as to help the pushes, right? Which was
it's such an edge case, though.
It is, yeah. It was.
I mean, fine, but if you're going to be greed hitting with it, on the LOS, then probably not a good idea.
Yeah, true. And Silfwin now has a movement 3 tree, which, considering he didn't have a tree about 4 games ago, is very surprising.
No, do not give him piling on, Silfwin.
You've got to roll another double for jump up first. Get jump up, and then you can give him piling on.
You just want to give him,
What happens if
grab probably with the woody tree is probably what you want ahead of guard, but guard and grab are the 2 skills you want.
Boring. On woodies, I think grab is more important because although
the one turn,
yeah,
and if you root, I mean, the woody tree obviously is loner, so you're not re-rolling the root, whereas the halfling trees maybe consider re-rolling the root. And grab is just important to keep players next to you.
Yeah, block is the double of choice. And also there's a bug in the jump up trees that there's a problem with something like if you try and jump up and you root, it messes up and it thinks you're standing up even though you're not. Which I had happen to me once. I think if you jump up and you root and you run out of time is when it messes up. If that makes sense, that combination of things.
Okay.
For any wood elf coaches who.
I mean, having movement 3 already, though, I think the double is block all day.
Yeah, true. Obviously, yeah, you don't need to. Now you're not rolling to stand up anymore anyway. There's no point taking or there's a lot less point taking jump up. Yeah, whereas when you're movement 2, jump up's actually good. Yeah. So you don't roll stand up, but you do still roll to root, and the root goes first. So if you root your tree, it stays on the ground, even with jump up. Is that right? I can't remember which. Yeah, that is right. I think because you don't move, so you don't stand up, or do you stand up?
I mean, so you mean if you use jump up to try and hit something, or if you just use it to stand up?
If you just use it to stand up and you root, do you still stand up?
I mean, you should do,
Yeah,
but
you're right. You should. Yeah, maybe I was. Maybe it's
yeah.
if you
I
hit
mean,
something and you fail it.
using jump up to hit something with a tree is not a good idea anyway, right? Because you're edge 1. So what is that? A 4+?
It's 3+. Oh yeah, 4+. Sorry, 50-50. But you know,
Yeah.
sometimes 50-50 is worth taking.
Uh,
Isn't it? It definitely shouldn't be your game plan as to why you're taking jump up.
Yeah.
But I took it on a silly meme team, and it caused a bug at some point, which is actually like recorded on my YouTube, where I couldn't make the tree refuse to stand up for the rest of the game, which was a pain, obviously. But anyway.
Anyway, yeah, I got to jump.
Yeah, cool. We're done anyway, right?
Meeting coming up. So yeah. Cheers. Cool season. Congrats to Guido again, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for joining me, Danton. And we'll be back, I guess, in about 10 days for. We're going to stream the fantasy football, bid process. I think we probably should, right? I think that might be interesting.
I think it would be fun to do it. Yeah.
Oh wow. Galentio was saying there were loads of streamers on because of last chances to qualify, but the only choices I can see in Blood Bowl 2 category is Daedalquist, Artemis Black, or Mr. Page. And I don't know if Art is actually playing, but all I can see on his page is actually a browser with a billion tabs open that's kind of tilting me, I've got to admit.
Well, then I guess Mr. Page then.
Yes, so I will be raiding Mr. Page. Mr. Page 404. I do like Mr. Page. I find him entertaining. I actually really liked his early phase where he
where he wasn't just rolling massive killer chaos teams.
He was always rolling massive killer chaos teams, but I liked when he had what's the word? Where he had loads of little icons on the screen, and every time you chatted, you had your own personal icon. And obviously that got out of hand when he started getting audiences of more than like 50. But at the beginning, it was kind of lovely that everyone who talked got their own little icon. And obviously now he's 200 people watching him stream, which is pretty exciting, isn't it? So yes, I have created a raid to Mr. Page, but if you want, there is Artemis and Daedal to go to, entirely up to you. Your preferences, whatever. And maybe someone else will start streaming soon. What with the fact it's 2:30 in the afternoon and Elliot usually comes on by now. Maybe he's taking today off. Also, CCL rolls at 5 o'clock, right? So, hurry up and get your games in if you want to, or as Danton has done, get your teams ready to roll the moment the competition opens. Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to play it at 5 o'clock? Be the first team spin?
No, I don't. No, I'm not going to play that early. But I mean, later on today, maybe spin once or twice.
And of course, Galentio is unbanned, having been banned from the last season because he conceded.
Galentio, that renowned cheater.
Yeah, he used up all his concedes without thinking, didn't pay enough attention, and got banned. So just don't concede, right? It doesn't matter. Like if
they're only pixels, Galentio.
Yeah.
And if people kill them, then just you can handle it.
Yeah, it's really annoying when people concede and don't let me, get SPP on the players I want. So don't be one of those people. Let me score my touchdowns on my all furners. Anyway, the raid's going. Sorry, it's saying too long. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Danton.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
And it's gone.
Cool. Yeah,